Hi, I'm Kayleigh Dowd and today join me on the Aaron Calder Canal. This section here is the Rawcliffe Wides and today we're going to be going through the basic guides of how to catch roach and skimmers, hopefully, if we get the odd one, on deep canals like this one. Few people, these deep canals can be a bit daunting, and to be honest, if you look at the amount of water here, you're like, how am I ever going to catch on them? But to be honest, it's all confidence and location, so have a look at a few match results, know that there's a few fish in area. Go, and the more that you go and sit down and catch fish, the more confident you become. So it's all about getting out there, putting your rigs in, using the tips that we're going to give you today, what ground bait to use, how to feed it. And more you get out there, more fish you catch, more confidence you'll become, and you'll be moving around country before you know it. So we've kept it nice and simple. I've actually set up 3 rigs today that will cover all options. So I'll start with a close one. So on that short line, which is a top 2 sections plus 3, so top 4 plus 3 sections, which is about 8 or 9 metres. I've got 2 rigs on there. So my aim there is to catch roach. So what I want for that one is a nice strung out rig, which I've got a 0.5 Kerry on with some nice number 10 droppers up. So when it goes in the water, it falls really nicely, and we're aiming to catch roach on that. And then I've also got another rig on there, which is a 0.75 Kerry with a bulk and 5 number 10 droppers. So the aim of that one is to get it down a bit faster and to the bottom where the bigger fish are likely to feed. So depending on how they're feeding and what species we are catching will depend which rig we use on that line. And then at 13 metres, I've got a 1.25 gram power, which is a nice bit of a beefier float. We're looking to catch a few bigger fish out there, and that'll hold the bottom, fish 6 inch over depth. And hopefully, like I say, we might nail a bream or 2 out there. Moving on to what I've fed. So I've fed the deep with a little bit of fatchers in on the long line. And at that I've fed 1.25 litres with a few pinkies and empin. And then on the long line, it's got a bit of chop worming as well. Like I say, we're looking to catch them bigger fish on the long line and just tick away on the short line with roach. Now I'm just gonna put these balls out. So I've just made 3 balls, which was 3 cups worth. So 750ml, I like to measure the bait out that way. And what I'm going to do now is put them on my long line. So nice and accurate, make sure they're all down the same line. So in there I've got a bit of dead pinky, some chopped worms and some fluoro rocks. So I do like the fluoro rocks in my mix. I just think it gives that bit of visual attraction, but I don't think the fish actually eat them. So what I think happens is the fish come in, pick up the fluoro rocks thinking they're pinkies or whatever, and because they're not edible, they just spit them back out. So there's always that little fleck of colour on bottom where you're fishing, which attracts other fish. Don't know if it's true or not, but that's how I feel, and I've got confidence in using them. They definitely do no harm. So they always go in my mix when I'm on these deep canals. And the mix that I've got here is just the deep water. So I've got 2.5 cups of that with 1/2 cup of fatchers in, so just for the bit of fish meal. Like I say, we're looking to catch a few bigger fish on here. So that bit of fish meal just attracts them bigger fish. I won't fish it just for roach, but I think it helps. Nice little bit of added attraction. So there we go, that's my 3 balls, and I've got a little one that I'm just going to pop in that I had spare. So, pull that back. And I like to feed these at the start, and I like to rest it for about an hour or so. Let fish gain confidence over it. Pick up the free offerings, and then when you go in, there's usually a few there for you. We'll ship out this last ball, and then I'll move on to my roach mix, which I fed before, and hopefully there's a few roach waiting for me. There we go, last one. Make sure it's nice and accurate, don't rush. Pop that ball in. There we go then. Take it apart there. And there we go, we're ready to start. Just about to start fishing now. Obviously I've fed my balls, done a bit of filming, and I have actually got a feeder rod set up with me. The reason being, normally once I've fed my lines, I'll then chuck a feeder for half hour or so, let the lines settle, and the fish get confident and you catch them a bit easier. But obviously today we've got filming and quite a bit going on, so rather than chucking my feeder rod, I'm just going to go straight out on my roach line, on that short line that we fed first, and hopefully we'll catch a few fish there. So I'll just ship out to exactly where I've put them balls, and I'm starting on my heavier rig to start with because I've just put bait in. It'll be on the bottom. I have loose fed the odd bit of pinky over the top. I'm hoping to catch a few fish on the bottom. We've set that lighter rig up as well, so if they do come up in the water, just off bottom, and catch them as we go through. There we go. Bite straight away off a little fish. Nice little roach. So as you saw, because we've let it settle, the fish have moved in on the bait and we've managed to pick one off straight away. If I was starting my session usually without the filming, I'd have chucked the feeder rod, and there is chance of a bigger fish there, so you could catch a bream, a skimmer, or even the odd perch if there's a few in area. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on catching a few roach. Maybe odd perch on this line. Fed that long line as well. That takes a little bit longer to settle usually. But it's in, and we're just waiting for a few fish on it. I'm just fishing a pinch of maggots, firing them in over the top. So probably 15, 20 pinkies even, not maggots. Just keep that loose feed going through water. I'm fishing single pinky on the hook. Sometimes I might put an inch on the bottom if I think there's a bigger fish there, and I will fish double pinky. But we're just feeling us way in at the minute, seeing what's about, what sort of fish we're catching, so I'm going to stick to single pinky. Just about catching a few fish to start with. So I lay my rig in, hold it exactly over where I've put that little bit of bait, hold it a few seconds and drop it in. Make sure it all straightens up and then it drops down nicely, hopefully in front of a fish or two, and we get a nice quick bite. There we go. Oh, bumped that one then. So same again, just hold it right over where I've put that bait, let it all straighten out and then just lower it in nicely. So that float's actually sat up now, which means that there were one on. Not good enough to hook that one though. There we go, it's spat my pinky out, mangled it, put it over at point at hook. Come back and try again. Ship that back out. And it's all about just getting in that nice little rhythm, repeating the process, keeping them pinkies going through water, nice and accurate. We go a nice little bleak. Wanted that. Oh, there we go. So at the minute it's going quite well. Don't need to change, but if it starts going iffy or if I miss bites, then I'd be looking to pick up my lighter rig through the water. Or you could even drop another ball in, so if they're responding to the ground bait, could make up another little ball filled with pinkies and hemp and just reconcentrate your fish back down. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do, if you want to bring them up in the water a little bit off at bottom, or whether you want to send them back down with a ball of ground bait. There you go, it's sat nicely over there. Just had a little indication then. And there we go. Nice stamp roach. Yeah, I've got my clicker here, so I'm just keeping track of how many fish I've caught. Just for myself, like to know end of the day how many I've caught. Not that it makes a difference, but it's nice. Set yourself a target and see if you can beat it next time you go out. So lay that rig in, exactly the same as before, just hold it right over where you want and then lower it down and drop the last little bit. Prevent your bait nicely to the fish. Give me a chance to feed a few pinkies over the top. And oh, just bumped that one then. Relower it back down. Let's wait for that nice little indication. There we go. There we go, nice perch. And the more you get going, the fishing does usually get better. Like I say, if it does die a little bit, drop a little ball in. We've got that long line sat waiting for us. Hopefully there's a few better fish on there. So when you have a drop on there, you never know what's going to happen. You could sit there and not get a bite, or it could go under every time with a skimmer. We just don't know. And it can change all the time, these deep canals. The fish obviously can move around, navigate up and down. Sometimes you can catch all skimmers, sometimes it's all roach. More importantly, they're full of fish and plenty of bites to keep us interested. So on this rig, I'm using 013 mainline just because it's nice power line, nice and robust. Never going to get snapped on the main line. And then the hooks and hook lengths I like to use 08 power line, and this is a size 20 N10. So I do like N10s for maggot and pinky fishing, like the curve in the bottom of the hook. I just think the live bait sits in the bottom and you don't miss many bites. I say that, missing a bite. You don't miss as many and your pinky don't wrap over as much. It just tends to sit in the groove a bit more. Really sharp and just nice way of fishing. This is a bulk and dropper rig, so like I say, I've got the other rig is set up exactly the same, 013, 08 hook length and a size 18 is that one, N10. I was fishing through the water. It's a lovely way. I do have a few of the pre-tied N10s as well, to be honest. I keep a few spare in my bag just in case I need them. So I'm not afraid to use the pre-tieds. Saves you time if anything, but sometimes I do like an 08 instead of 09. But if that's what we're going to tie, then there's no point in tying them myself when you can already get them pre-tied. That long line's now had time to rest. Caught quite a few fish on my short line on pinkies, so I'm going to go have a look and see if we can catch any better stamp fish long. So I've started off with double pinky on hook. I'm going to ship out there. Could take a little bit longer, but who knows, there could be better fish sat waiting. So ship out onto the support bar. That just holds it all nice and still. So let it all settle nicely, drop it in, and there we are. We're sat dead over where we've put that bit of bait. Sat nice and positive, and we're just waiting for that little float to dim, or you could even get a lift bite like that. It's a lift bite. There's fish there straight away. So what's happened there is the fish has gone down, followed the bait down, picked it up and swam up with it. So rather than going under, the float's popped up, and there it is, a little skimmer. There we go. Nice little hand-side skimmer to start with. So it's already a better stamp than what we were catching on that short line. They were mainly roach. So, same again, double pinky. We've got some pinkies in as mix, so definitely worth a shout. Back between his legs, over where we put his bait in, and just hold it for them few seconds while it all straightens out, and then lower it in. Can't forget about his pinkies on his short line though. Gives us somewhere to go when this needs a rest. It's all about rotating your two lines and making the most of the session. There we go, that's another bite. A tiny little fish is that one. It's a good sign though that there's a few fish there. We're wanting a few better fish rather than them, but bites are bites. Oh yeah. This is size 18 hook, so a nice size to get a couple of pinkies on. An N10, same as what's on the pinky line on the short line. There we are. Hold it nice and tight, and then just let the last bit drop in. So this is a 1.25 gram float, nice and heavy, so it's all sat dead positive, but it's not ridiculous that it's not too heavy. So you probably notice I'm not actually loose feeding on this long line, so I'm just trying to keep them all down on the bottom where they're easier to catch. I'm mainly fishing for skimmers which feed on the bottom rather than through the water like roach. There we go. It's got a 6 original slipping ear elastic. So not only will it deal with a smaller fish, but if we want to work out better, say a bream or an eel, anything like that, we won't struggle getting it out. So there we have it. I think that bream's gonna not come along today and it's gonna elude us, to be fair. I had a lovely day's fishing. Caught loads of fish, so I can't really grumble. Caught a lot on the short line and a lot on the long line, but unfortunately, just no bream. So on that short line, I kept on just topping up with little balls of ground bait with pinkies in. Kept concentrating them back on bottom, and to be honest, the fishing's been really, really good, so I can't complain at all. Then on the long line, just putting a few worms in a bit of ground bait. I have caught a lot of fish, a few nice fish, perch and better roach, but unfortunately no bream this time. Hopefully next time we'll catch a bream, but who knows, that's fishing for you. You can't go out and catch them all the time, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know I certainly have. Enjoyed being out on the bank as always. So until next time, I'll see you then. Last but not least, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Preston Innovations YouTube channel for more videos like this one. I'll see you then.